Hello, fellow gamers. Welcome once again to Gaming Shelf Help. I'm Brad Davies.
I'm Drew Kochi.
I'm Sarah Babe.
Today, we're talking about Shadowdark.
It's the darkness of the shadows.
It is a game by Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library. It is kind of an OSR, or Old School Renaissance, Old School Revival, however you want to go about that. Game that takes D&D and kind of strips back to like the bare essentials and the feeling that you had back when you played that first hit of D&D way back when, and you're like, oh man, this is awesome. And it really takes out all of kind of I like to say it strips back all the BS rules that you're like don't remember anyways. It's kind of the way I approach it. But
it boils down your water to leave the lead behind.
No. No.
It boils out the impurities?
Yes. There we go. Yes. Yeah. It is
a very elegant. Simple is the wrong word because it isn't simple, but it is a more simplified, basic but elegant system for the sword and sorcery style of fantasy role-playing game.
It was Kickstartered it funded for Kickstarter in March 30, 2023 for $1.36 million.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And I will say, this didn't come out of nowhere. She had been working hard on this game for many years before this. She had been at GaryCon for many years, just begging people to come and play this at her table. And like, please, 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 no, you need to try this game out. And finally, it caught enough traction, hit that critical mass, and it just blew up. And now everybody knows about it. And that's kind of why we're covering it here. In 2024, it won 4 Ennies. Those are the fan-chosen awards at Gen Con. Basically, judges pick the games, and then fans do a ranked choice.
So it won 4 gold Ennies this year. It won Best Game, Best Layout and Design, Best Rules, and the top prize of Best Product of the Year.
I am not surprised at all about layout and design because this is a fantastic layout and fantastic design.
You can get it from the Arcane Library. Just check the liner notes. Sorry, my data reference.
We should just call it the liner notes still.
We'll just keep it. All right, check the liner notes down below, and you'll see the web address. You can go and get your copy.
I'm just so incredibly happy for Kelsey and like all of the people who have worked on this game. Because it's just good. It is solid. The book is great. And I'm a sucker for the ribbons.
Yeah. She did the writing, design, and layout.
Oof.
Wow.
That's a lot.
I guess that leads us into what's cool about this. Why should people pick this up? Why should this go on the gaming shelf? And whose table this belongs at?
This is an indie product that swings well above its weight class. It just comes out, does what it needs to do, lends itself to really fun role-playing scenarios, and it's just good. It's just solidly good.
Yeah, and, as I had said before, it's a very elegant, simplified mechanic system and book. Everything is in the one book. It's got the rules for the players, rules for the game master, and it removes some of that excess bloat that you don't necessarily need, and still provides the gaming experience that fits exactly what it's going for.
I think it lends itself a lot to rules as intended versus rules as written.
Yes, absolutely.
I am much more a rules as intended person, so it's really feeds into my preference for that.
It's really built for ease of play and speed of play, to sit down at the table and get going. Whenever I talk about this book, I kind of do 2 things that I say about it. Is one, remember, if you've ever played D&D, I say, do you remember what D&D was like when you were a kid and you just sat down and you played for like 10 hours straight with your buddies and you had a lot of fun and you role played a bunch of cool stuff and you told all these great stories and you probably forgot half the rules and ignored all the other rules that you couldn't figure out? Like, this book gets rid of all those rules you didn't care about and just cuts to the heart of what is fun about playing a D&D style game. And the second one I always kind of think about is like, it's a very good engine to run the type of fantasy you want. She did such a good job building this engine that you can essentially grab really any old D&D module, pull it down, look at it, and run that module for it. I've been in kind of the works of grabbing my old Planescape and Dark Sun and reading back through those old school adventures to run with this. Another thing I've been looking at doing is taking this and using it for Omnivorous Games' Bottled Sea and Undying Sands with their Hexcrawl toolkit. It supports that so well because it's just, we need a system to run to play fantasy game. Boom, here you go. That's what it is.
This game also does a very good job of bridging the style of play that goes from like old school roll ROLL playing to being like super specific about things. Are you 5 feet away? That kind of stuff. And the role playing that you get from more narrative games. And I think it bridges that style between the two worlds to allow folks that do both to play together. Because I played this at GaryCon with Brian David Judkins. And
shout out to Brian David Judkins.
What up, Brian? And we played with 4 other people, complete strangers. And a few of them were more like crunchy, grognardy, and I don't mean that in a bad way. And, you know, I'm definitely more narrative. Brian's more narrative. And we all just played so well together. Mm-hmm. It was just, it felt like I had been playing for much longer with those people. And most of the table was strangers. So I was like, all right, cool, we're good.
In our full dive, we're going to get a lot more into the rules and also the other interesting things that make it stand out from the crowd. However, I will lead with the teaser and the star of the show that everybody who has heard about this game has heard about this one rule. That is that it is played in real time. In the game, torches are important.
Hey, Brad, yeah. What's the name of the game?
Shadowdark.
I attack the darkness
with your torch.
But that was my +5 arrow.
So yeah, it is played essentially in real time. There are rules that you can play in turn-based and whatnot, but the interesting mechanic is that you have to have a torch or some sort of light source available and on or lit or whatever so that the monsters do not become more powerful and attack you, because no one has dark vision, no one can see in the dark. That playing out in real time really does add some gravitas to it and also add some like immersion, because I've heard of GMs setting out a electronic candle and having that there, and it's like, well, you lit your candle, here you go, and then as the time goes, your light grows dimmer, or they turn down the dimmer on the candle, so you're like, oh no, our light's going out. So I think that's a really interesting mechanic, and it really encapsulates the feeling of Shadowdark, is that narrative element mixed with old school gaming feel.
Yeah.
I always forget about, I shouldn't say I always forget about the mechanic, but it's not the first thing that comes to mind with this game, but it is quite possibly one of the more brilliant design decisions.
It's the draw that I've heard. Anytime I've heard people on the convention floors talking about this, they're like, dude, this is the one that you play in real time and there's the light source and stuff, like, and people are like, what? Oh no, I gotta check this out.
Yeah. That's I was making the joke with the I attack the darkness, but that's what I was leading into with it, is the darkness versus light mechanic, and that you do have to fight back against the darkness itself with your light sources. That's a huge draw and factor and fits the theme and setting style of the game so well, right? It's not a grand heroic fantasy. It's a more grittier, darker, shadowy, right? Fantasy setting, where you do have to worry about what is out in the darkness. It gives me kind of vibes and feelings of the video game Don't Starve. Where you have to have the torch, and then as it gets darker, the shadows grow, and you see eyes in the darkness, and are there really monsters there or not? And it's that kind of, right, more guttural, primordial gut feeling that we all have, that fear of the darkness and the unknown.
And she took that and also kind of rounded the edges off too. If you don't want to play the, oh no, I have to move 5 foot and poke the ground to make sure that the darkness doesn't attack me, like, you don't have to do that. And I agree with you. I think it does a really good job of making it dark and deep, but also making it playable.
Yeah.
So
Accessible is the word I
accessible.
like to think of.
Yeah.
It makes it, because as much as I love the D&D, sometimes it is very intimidating to look at D&D and parse through the rules and figure it out, where this is much more intuitive.
I guess with that being said, we should give an impression to our listeners on what table this would be for. So I guess, Sarah, do you want to start with that?
Honestly, this is for everyone. I just...
Shadowdark is for everyone.
Yeah. Shadowdark is for the children. It's really for every level of play, for every kind of player. Just you need this on your shelf. Also, I love the size of the book.
Yeah, it's the A5 style.
Yeah,
size.
and that just makes me feel like cuddling the book. Like, I know that sounds weird, but it makes it feel cozy and more mine, because I can just be like, I'm going to put this into my bag and take it with me to work.
I agree. I think the mechanics are accessible to everybody, right? New gamers, experienced gamers, everybody can use them and understand them and play it. I think it will work better with an in-person group as opposed to online because of that light mechanic and being able to take full advantage of that. There are ways that you can play it online, but I think it'll have a stronger impact and is made more for that in-person, you're at the table together as opposed to a virtual table.
I did not even think about a virtual table for this.
Yeah.
But that's a really good point.
I got the two groups. I got one
proud of you.
One virtual, so I keep that in mind with it.
Look at you having perspectives on
right?
Stuff. Proud of you.
But I think it's a highly recommended. I mean, I know from one of my gaming groups, this is like the top of somebody's list. He independently brought it up of like, hey, have you heard of Shadowdark? I was like, hey, you know what? I have.
I have.
So I mean, it's out there, right? Even some not hardcore gamers, but not casual, and that in between are recognizing it and seeing it and interested in it.
I would definitely say this belongs on your gaming shelf for sure. If anything, to study the design and to study how it gets put together. If you're interested in making games, this is fantastic layout. It is information dense without being overwhelming, and it's all black and white, but it doesn't seem boring when you read through it. It's so well indexed and everything.
Oh yeah, 100%. So easy to find things.
It's great, and I would also say that starting from just the base level of getting to play a D&D style fantasy game as a beginner GM or a beginner player, you could definitely get this rolling. You could definitely play it and enjoy it. But I think the deeper your experience goes, the better and richer this becomes. It's like tasting a fine whiskey or wine or something, where you can at least appreciate the flavor right off the bat, but then you can kind of go deeper with the flavor profile, if you will. I definitely feel like if you are like me, I started my gaming career back in junior high, which was many years ago for those keeping count at home.
In the before times.
It makes me reminisce back to those days where I stayed up till 2 a.m, eating way too much junk food, drinking way too much soda, cracking jokes with my friends as we rolled some dice and just enjoyed playing a weird fantasy world that we would talk about for the next month until we can get together and do that again. And that is the draw for me. So if you are that old nostalgic person, maybe that's the draw for you. But I think, yeah, it's really got a draw for anyone, and it's very universal feeling for the game.
So get this book. It's awesome.
If you want our long and short, get the book. Get the book.
Too long, didn't listen. Yeah. Get the book.
I guess with that, I am Brad Davies.
I'm Drew Kochi.
And I'm Sarah Babe.
And we'll see you on the full deep dive later.
With the dark.
And the shadows.
In the dark.
Shadowdark.
Dark shadow.